Hey, powerful ladies. So, this is part two of the series where we were diving into the hormones and how they affect your physicality, your ability to exercise, the results you get, your nutrition adherence, all this stuff. And I wanted to share with you the resources that I've used to gather this information, along with some research articles, but primarily Alyssa VT. She had authored both these books, Woman Code and In the Flow. This one she goes really deep. That's where I got a lot of information from, was In the Flow. Also, she has an app that you can download to utilize with this. And then Luann Brizendine, The Female Brain, goes deep into the psychology and kind of what happens throughout the development of the female brain. That being said, we're going to look a little deeper into some of the information about the nutrition and exercise. And it's coming primarily again from the In the Flow book, because Alyssa does one of the best deep dives that I've seen. And what I mentioned previously in the other video is that she actually starts the cycle numbering differently. So you'll have to take that into consideration whenever you're doing your research. She said that the bulk of researchers out there start the 28-day infradian cycle or your menstrual cycle phase by starting day one of your first bleed or show tells signs of your period. And she said the reason it's done that way is because they figured that would be the day or easiest day that women would be able to note and see something physical taking place, and that's easier to chart. But apparently from a hormonal standpoint and what happens internally to the body, it's better to actually start it afterwards. So you can see that she is calling phase 4 the menstrual cycle, but it starts with day 1, even though that's the end basically. So she's calling that the menstrual phase, whereas in the other literature we're looking up, they start that as the follicular phase by itself, and then we move into ovulation and things of that nature. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at this and trying to plan things out. Next up, we have some of the nutrition stuff that she recommends to kind of sync with your cycle so that you get the best results. And she said you can remove some of the PMS symptoms, cramps, and things of that nature. Again, I am not the expert on this. This is from years of research and women that she's done this with. So I highly recommend getting the book and diving into this. But just a brief overview. If you don't want to listen to the 14 hours or so of the book, you can basically kind of use this as a cheat sheet. So based on your phase, you can use some of these nutritional items to try to supplement or alleviate symptoms or feel better quicker, or whatever the case may be. And she said it's based on the way that the body is responding and how these foods can help to balance the hormones during each phase. So different grains, vegetables, and fruit. And the way she recommends going about this is by taking basically kind of one area and trying to modify throughout the month that one thing. So taking fruit, for example, and trying to just get a handle on cycling the fruit throughout your phase rather than trying to literally do this whole thing at once. It's take it bit by bit in one area at a time, and then try to make it a part of your life so that you can get used to the cyclical nature of eating. And then over time, introduce the rest. Here's some of the meat, seafood, and fats and other items, and how to implement those into your cycle. And also some information on diets and like when best to diet or how best to diet, I guess you could say. And she mentions that in the follicular phase is when you can do intermittent fasting or even calorie restriction because your appetite is suppressed. So it's easier for your body to handle a reduction. And then, as I mentioned in the other video, the luteal phase, right before your menstruation, is when your body is typically craving higher calories and needs more calories because it's basically gearing up to support additional life. Even if you're not looking at getting pregnant, your body doesn't know that, and it's always trying to create this cycle of life just in case. So that's why you'll see that you're more hungry during these phases, and then it's harder to stick to or maintain a diet during that phase. So you can plan this out accordingly and be aware of that. And then again, like I mentioned before, not kind of beat yourself up if you can't stick to one specific diet. You can actually find it a little easier to keep a kind of flowing diet instead. And here we have an overview of exercise. So again, like I mentioned in the other video, so you're looking at again, in the luteal phase where your weightlifting, Pilates and stuff like that come into play. So more of your heavy weight training, strength training. Again, we focus only on this. So the way that you would implement this is basically looking at the different phases you're in and trying to match up the different kind of exercises as supplemental, as well as increasing the kind of intensity based on your phase. So you'll find you have more strength here, so you can still take more rest in between sets and lift heavier. And then here, take lighter rest between sets, lift lighter weights, and get more of a cardiovascular pump from the weight training. So you still get the same benefits even though you're using one modality. This is showing you a very complex overview of multiple different classes and how you would implement that into your personal cycle. Here is another handout, kind of puts it into a little bit more simplistic terms. So again, same information telling you what your body needs or what it's craving and how to implement the exercise and nutrition into that based on where you're at in your cycle. So you can use this kind of cheat sheet if you want as well. And then also have this one here, very similar, using kind of a round circular model to give the same kind of information. So it's just important, like I said, to just be aware of all this. It's not to make this more overwhelming and complicated than it is right now in stage one of this. It's just to open your mind up to the idea and information. And then as you start to now be aware, then as it comes about that you see and feel these changes, you can kind of start to pinpoint and put them in the correct locations, and then start to slowly implement changes to your routine that you can find more sustainable and easier to cope with based on understanding now of how your cycle responds. So hope this provided some insight. And again, if you have any more questions or you want to dive deeper, definitely let me know. I'll be happy to put some more content together for you ladies. But that's it for this one. So until next time, lift daily, achieve your impossible, and stay powerful. See ya.